Whoa, what happened here?
No, some standings, some
Oh,
odds.
yeah, wrong image. This is how we start off the show, and it's kind of emblematic of what's going on with the Miami Dolphins. So it's perfect. That was actually a subtle little move right there. See how we operate here at the All Dolphins podcast? I kid, there was a mistake. Welcome, everyone. It's Monday, October 28th, 2024, the day after the Dolphins' 28-27 loss against the Arizona Cardinals at Hard Rock Stadium. And here, shaking his head and joining me to do a post-mortem on this game, what it means for the rest of the season, where the Dolphins go now, is Perk. What up, Perk? Are we getting pissed off Perk today, or peeved Perk, perplexed Perk?
Apoplectic perk. How about that?
Whoa.
How you see what I did there? I mean, look, Mike McDaniel now 22-21 as a coach. The Dolphins in their last 8 home games, 3-5, bracketed by 28-27 losses to Tennessee last year, to Arizona on Sunday. That's how I'll start the show off.
And with that, we're done. Yeah, and this was another team, and I'll give the Arizona Cardinals credit for being plucky, feisty, and all that. Still not. I'm sorry, it's still not a great team. This is a team that hadn't won back-to-back games since 2021. I will say this, and this is part of the issue with the Miami Dolphins, and I wrote about this on Miami Dolphins on SI.com in a roundabout sort of way. Kyler Murray, balled out yesterday. He was great. And this is where I think the Miami Dolphins talent, I think, is a bit overrated. And I think the fact that they have a lot of big names on their roster and they have certain guys who don't play like it. They have certain guys who are, I would venture to guess, naturally overrated in certain circles. And yes, I'm going to say it. QB1 is one of those. And for those who watch the Fox telecast on Sunday, I want somebody to look at me and talk to me the way Mark Schlereth was talking about Tua the entire broadcast. I mean, it was a love fest.
Wow.
And Tua was good. Kyler Murray was the best quarterback on the field yesterday.
Tua was good. He had 3 fumbles.
Well, one of them, he had the ball swiped out of his hand when he's moving up in the pocket because Robert Jones allowed penetration. It's not really on him. The other one, okay, fumbled exchange from snap, and then the shotgun snap, which was not a great snap. Should Tua have had it? Probably. It wasn't a great snap.
Dude, the ball hit him in the hands. When that happens with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, we go crazy. It hit him in the hands. It's a lack of focus.
I said he should have had focus. Okay, should have had it. Okay, but that's 2 fumbles. He was efficient in his passing.
I mean, whatever. You know what? Here's what I think, Poop, and I keep saying this, that the Dolphins' problem, well, they've got a few problems. One of their biggest problems is that their top players don't come through at the times that they need to come through. And this also extends to Mike McDaniel. He doesn't come through. Tua doesn't come through. Tyreek doesn't come through. Waddle doesn't come through. Ramsey had his worst game of the season. Zach Sealer is the guy who comes through all the time. He wasn't out on the field. And so that's what, and by the way, Anthony Weaver had his worst game of the season also. And so that's kind of what you're left with there is a bunch of guys like Austin Jackson and David Long to come through and make these plays for you. You need your top players performing, showing out, 100-yard games, best games of the season in these situations. Mike McDaniel calling a better game, but it doesn't happen. And Tua was not bad yesterday. I don't know that he was good. He was okay. I don't know that he was good. They needed good Tua. They needed good Tyreek. They needed good Waddle. Calais was good. But I just didn't see a whole lot of players doing what was necessary given the dire circumstance of yesterday.
Here's the thing. Other than the 2 fumble snaps, was there a throw that Tua made that we were like, yeesh? Yeah. And for those who are quick to be like, well, he didn't finish the deal on that final drive. True. However, if you recall the sequence, they got the first down on that reversed ruling on the completion to Johnny Smith. First down, they gave it to Raheem Mostert. It was a 1 yard gain that the Cardinals completely sniffed out.
0.
Oh, was it 0? Okay. Second down, the Dolphins left a blitzer from the outside from Tua's front side, completely unblocked. That hurried the throw. I don't know if Julian Hill was the first read on that play, and he had to dump it off very quickly for a 1 yard gain, and it's 3rd and 9. And you look at the replay, Arizona sent 7. They sent 7, and they got to Tyreek. I mean to Tua immediately, and I don't know if the Tua didn't see the blitz coming, didn't have it like a hot for the play. But that's the case, and that was an example of Arizona coaching the Dolphins on that particular play. I don't know what was the major issue with Weaver's defense, because here's the problem that he's operating with right now. He's got no pass rush unless he blitzes, and on the back end, all due respect, Jordan Poyer can't cover anybody if he's tasked with somebody in man, and Marvin Harrison was beating Jalen Ramsey, and David Long can't cover.
Yes,
that makes it tough.
That makes it tough. Here's my thing with Weave, and Weaver has done a great job this year, a great job. Just like Jalen Ramsey is having an all-pro season, but you needed both of those guys to come through yesterday. Jalen, the Marvin Harrison touchdown, bad. He couldn't get Kyler Murray on the ground on blitzes, which I know that's asking a lot, but you're Jalen Ramsey. You're a gold jacket guy, and your team really needs you. And I know, Pooh. And then with Weave, yes, you're without Sealer and you're without Cater Kohu, which is an underestimated absence. But Cam Smith told me in the locker room last night that he got burned on that first Michael Wilson touchdown. Now, I asked Jordan Poyer today. Cam was the closest defender in the end zone on that touchdown where they just lost Michael Wilson, the Cardinals defender. Jordan Poyer told me that he'll take the blame. He said it was a 0 blitz, but what both of them said it was a miscommunication. I don't know who is at fault, but Weave, that can't happen. Trey McBride, the tight end, is just constantly finding soft spots in the middle of your zone. Weave, that can't happen. It just can't. Like, you need to win this game. And so, to get back to your original point, Poop, the talent is not necessarily overrated on this team. It doesn't perform when you need it to perform. Jordan Poyer, you've got to step up. Well, no. I don't think that's overrated. Tua should be playing better in these situations. I don't want to say they choke. They don't come through in the clutch. They don't come through in the big games. Tyreek, Tua, Jalen Waddle, we can go down the checklist. These guys have got to do better in the big moments. I don't necessarily think that they're overrated. Raheem Mostert, is he a Pro Bowl running back? I mean, you average 67 yards a game. Maybe that's overrated, but whatever. He doesn't come through when he needs to, and to me, that's the bigger problem with the Dolphins, Poop. It's I guess you can debate whether the talent is overrated. I just don't think it comes through in the key moments, which maybe that is the definition of overrated. So yeah, I can accept that. I can accept that.
Because what's made Patrick Mahomes keeps getting flowers all over the place. His numbers suck.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
But so why is he still being revered? Because every time they need a big play, he gets it done.
Yeah, he comes through in the clutch.
Correct, yeah. And I think that's part of it. Yeah. I'm going to take major issue with you, Perk. Bad Perk. The Michael Wilson touchdown. You mean the play where Kyler Murray had the ball for 12 seconds? I'm sorry. That's hat tip. You cannot ask any defensive secondary to cover that long when the guy is running back and forth in the backfield. That play was strictly hat tip to Kyler Murray for keeping the play alive, in my very humble opinion. And then Jordan Poyer, you're asking, are you looking for Jordan Poyer to step up? I'm sorry, Jordan Poyer should not be asked to step up and provide glue type coverage, particularly if it's man to man or it becomes man if the guy's in his zone. That's not who he is anymore.
That's why you have him. That's the role that you're that you're expecting this guy to play. And so, I don't know what to tell you on that, that he's got to step up and do it. Like, I don't know if that's over his pay grade. I don't know that that's accurate, but he's got, if he doesn't do it, who will? Marcus May, Elijah Campbell? He's got to do it. They've got a lot of guys on this team that they've got to do it. Like, there's no other choice here. That if you don't do it, you're going to fall to 2-7 because you got two big road games coming up, Buffalo and the Rams.
Yeah.
The talent has got to come through at some point. These guys have got to start making some plays.
Okay, and I don't want to harp on Jordan Poyer, but if you saw that 17-yard completion to Trey McBride on that 3rd and 1 on the final drive where everybody was in man and Poyer was the one opposite Trey McBride, it wasn't close. I mean, the separation was like,
yep.
And I'm sorry, Elijah Campbell absolutely would have covered him better. He was the only other safety. And Marcus May had the one play. And again, good luck on that one. He had Kyler Murray in the open field, short of the first down sticks on the final 3rd down, but he got juked by Kyler Murray. And again, I'm going to forgive that because Kyler Murray in the open field, one-on-one with space. Good luck.
Right. It's a mismatch. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to Tua and what you said, because again, to me,
yes,
obviously the offense looked different and the ball got out. Mm-hmm. They weren't, and part of my thing with, like, oh my God, the love fest was like, oh my Lord. There was one example. It was just Jalen Waddle come back like 12 yards on the field, turns around, and the ball got there, and they're marveling about how we threw the ball before Waddle ever turned around. And you see the replay from the back when the ball clearly wasn't released before Waddle turned around. So it's like, can we simmer down? And that's always been, whenever I've pushed back and I've been accused of being a Tua hater, it's the over-the-top praise that's just insane. Like the guy, like I said, he's a good quarterback when he's operating at peak efficiency. He's even a very good quarterback. But yesterday, he had like a beautiful throw to Tyreek, like that little teardrop over the top for 30 yards. Outside of that, everything was kind of short as usual.
Yeah.
The second longest completion was a 20-yarder to Jalen Waddle, where he basically, it's one step throw it to him at the number because nobody's on him.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Hold on, one final point on that before I throw it to you. Do you want to tell me Tyler Huntley, Skylar Thompson, or Tim Boyle couldn't do that? I mean, it's really not. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Tua was short to Tyreek on the one deep throw, but here's my thing. He wasn't good enough, and that's the thing with Tua is that, and all of these guys, somebody's got to do something spectacular in a big moment against a good team. And this wasn't against a good team, but this was a big moment. You needed to win this game. You're at home. You've been having a rough start to the season. You needed to win this game. Nobody stepped up. Tua didn't step up. Raheem, Devon Achane, Tyreek. I mean, you go down the list and nobody stepped up. Javon Holland goes out injured. David Long doesn't step up. Chop doesn't step up. Tyus Bowser, Benito Jones. I mean, that's nobody. And Austin Jackson, nobody. They just all flatline. And so that, somebody has got to make some plays. This is my big thing with this team. Is that the overrated thing. Here's the other thing. Well, we can get into the run game later. I've got stuff on the run game too that I'm just not convinced that anybody on this team is really doing a whole lot at this point.
We're gonna ding Devon Achane at like 150 total yards at a 47-yard run, where he probably got 30 on his own after he completely faked out the Arizona quarterback out of his shoes. Had the one touchdown where he took basically a quick screen and just weaved his way in. I don't know how much more you want from Achane over there. And Jalen Wright had only 2 carries and
yes,
looked good again. And Mike McDaniel was asked about that on Monday. And Perk is shaking. He said, "Oh, Perk. Well, go ahead. Go. What was this? Go ahead."
Mike McDaniel gave like an 8-minute monologue on the meritocracy and why Jalen Wright isn't getting more carries. And I don't know what the hell he said. Give the dude the ball. Like, give them the ball. How tough is this? Here's my thing with the run game, Poop. And I've been saying, understand what I'm saying here. The run game is not going to win you games. You need the run game for balance. I'm not faulting the run game. I said last week the run game should be a major factor, not the main factor. So yesterday, you look at the situational running, okay? So the Dolphins get the ball, and I'm looking at my computer screen here because this is what I wrote on sunsentinel.com. I gave the run game a C minus. And here's why.
Ooh, harsh.
8:47 left. The Dolphins are trying to protect a 27-25 lead.
Mhm.
The run game, you're trying to, pound the rock, run out the clock. The run game has 4 carries for 10 yards. The final 2 carries, HN gets a 2-yard loss on 1st and 10 from the Dolphins 42. Now
Yep.
you're behind the chain, 2nd and 12. Your second to last, your last carry is Mostert getting the no gain on 1st and 10 from the Cardinals 48. No, you're come on. I mean, you're putting yourself in bad situations. And I told you about the Indy game where you have 15 carries in the second half. 5 of them go for negative yards, right? Or negative results because you have the 2 lost fumbles. You don't convert on 3rd and 1. And then you have a -2 on 2 first downs with Tim Boyle as your quarterback. And now you've got 2nd and 12. So the yards are great, but the situational running, you need this run game in the red zone on 3rd and 1, short yardage situations to run out the clock in the fourth quarter. It's not capable of doing that. It's a good run game, and you need it for balance. It's not going to win you games because it doesn't score touchdowns. That's what again, you need the run game. The run, not the reason that you lost today. I'm just saying the run game, if you're counting on that run game to win you games, it's not going to happen.
Allow me to retort.
Yes, let's
A
do it.
couple of things. The Dolphins did have 2 rushing touchdowns against the Cardinals,
Yes.
including one by Raheem Mostert on 3rd and goal from the 6.
Yes, correct.
Going
Correct.
back to the last drive, while you're correct on the final 2 runs, the first 2 runs on that drive, they began the drive with a 9-yard run by H.
Yes.
in the middle.
Right.
And then the
Yep.
second one is a fullback dive by Alec Ingold, basically to get the first down.
Yes.
So those 2 runs to me are very successful because you ran twice, you
Yeah.
got the first down. Okay.
Right.
And then the other 2, I will give you those.
Okay.
And they wound up with 150 yards,
Mm-hmm.
5 carries, the 2 touchdowns. So to me, dinging them for a C minus because they failed on their last 2 runs is pretty harsh.
It's not you failed. No, it's not you failed on your last 2 runs. You couldn't run out the clock. Like the run game, you've got to do good situational running. This is like the Dolphins when they scored 34 on Carolina or 40 on Washington, and then you score 14 in Buffalo. It's like, okay, the situational scoring. Anybody can just run up points. Like anybody can just run up yards between the 20s. Like what are you doing situationally? 3rd down, when you need to run out the clock at the end of the game, when you're in the red zone, when you're in short yardage. As you say, Mostert did a good job on the 6-yard run. They got 2 rushing touchdowns. That's only part of the job. Having 2 good carries among your 4 carries on the last possession, that's only part of the job. Again, it's good. It's good that you got the 12 yards. It's not going to win you the game. The passing game, and that's really what I'm getting back to, going over the top for that deep throw. That's how you're going to win games. And if they shut down Tyreek and Waddle, you're screwed. You have no other way to win games. Jonnu isn't going to win you games. Raheem, Devon, HN, and Jalen Wright, they're not going to win you games. They can keep you even. They can keep you afloat, but they're not going to win that game for you.
I still think you're too harsh. You go C minus. To me, the running game was.
It was a bright spot.
Yeah, I would go B minus. And I think based on what we've seen, this notion of the Dolphins throwing down the field a lot, I mean, that ship has sailed, it looks like. There was the one deep attempt at Tyreek, which was butt ugly, was way short.
Yep.
Again, there was a teardrop down the other side. But everything else, again, it's back to the quick hitters, the wide receiver screen, the running back screen, the quick hit at the numbers. everything short and all that. And if it's effective, then by the way, one more thing, the running game, well, I would argue, was very instrumental in the win at New England. And yes, here it comes. I know, yeah, it's New England.
No, you're right. It was. No, again, instrumental. I don't disagree with instrumental. Instrumental is good. I'm saying it's not going to win you games, and I know you have that example consistently. It's not going to happen. It's just not.
Yeah, but you
you
can say
win.
that for every team, no?
Not for Baltimore. I mean, they have that streak of 100-yard rushing games, and now they've added Derrick Henry.
That's one team.
Okay, Christian McCaffrey. He provides a running game punch, right? The old Dallas teams with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, like you know, everybody's giving credit to Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. You had a running game there that helped you out a lot. And so I look, and Philadelphia, look, Nick Foles didn't win that Super Bowl. Run game and defense won that Super Bowl. And I mean, there's a lot of teams, if you go through that, the run game. Now, you know, this year, I don't know. I would have to go back and look at who's up there in the standings aside from Baltimore, and the run game is consistent. San Francisco, you know, and McCaffrey has been hurt anyway. But, you know, look, James Cook, I think, has provided a nice lift for Buffalo, just off the top of my head. We'll see him this week. You know, and honestly, I don't know that James Cook is going to win you many games. He's a supplement to Josh Allen, right? I don't know that James Cook is going to win you many games. And I could, you know, off the top of my head, I could almost equate the roles of those run games. The Dolphins need a run game. They need the run game to be instrumental. But to me, to go from being instrumental to being good or productive or reliable or able to win games, yeah, you can't fumble in the fourth quarter, and you can't have those first down zeros and -2s to put you behind the chains. You've got to you've got to dig it out. And part of that is because you don't have a power back, right? You don't have a Chris Brooks. You don't have a whoever you want to say, and that's a flaw in roster construction. But I think running game being instrumental is about the ceiling that I would give it. And that's good. But win you the game, can it finish that job and finish that fourth quarter drive? It can't.
You also don't have the offensive line for it. By the way, as you were talking, I was looking it up. Top 10 teams in the NFL in rushing yards per game: Baltimore, Philly, Washington, Frisco, Green Bay, Detroit, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Miami, Tampa Bay. Every team on that list is at least 500, except for the Dolphins. But part of that, of course, is they operated with practice squad quarterbacks. Oops, I'm sorry. For 4 games. No, I said it, actually. I said it.
You did, and you're accurate.
That's going to be the epitaph of the season down the stretch, perhaps. Okay. Let's quickly relate the news of the day, and then we'll attack where the Dolphins go from here. What is the news of the day? Oh, Bradley Chubb, folks. Don't hold your breath for when he's coming back. Mike McDaniel said basically, I don't have a timetable. Not practicing this week. He's not on my radar. Guys only get on my radar when they're close to coming back. So close as the radar. He's not on the radar. Means he's not close. Better news on the, go ahead.
And I'm okay. Very briefly, I'm okay with that right now. He's about average. He got hurt New Year's Eve. ACL is 9 to 12 months, and McDaniel said ACL plus. So, you know, there might be another ligament, MCL damage or whatever. He's at 10 months, right? This is October 28th. So it's so far, it just means he's not a fast healer. He could be an average healer.
Yeah, and this is going to be one of those where if the season continues to tail a little bit, at some point they might just shut him down and say that, you know what, come back in 2025, or maybe not. Yes, I went there. News is better. And I said that because Bradley Chubb has a contract from which the Dolphins can unentangle themselves next offseason with minimal salary cap pain.
Yes.
Other news was more positive. It involved Javon Holland and an injury, not necessarily that serious. Mike McDaniel, however, said not sure about his availability for the game on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. Not like they could use him against the Bills, right?
Easy team.
Okay, here's the thing, and I wrote this. I tweeted this. I'm going to put this out there, and then let the comments telling me to give it a rest or shut up in 3, 2, 1. The Green Bay Packers made the playoffs last year after starting 2-5.
Ooh, that begs a relax, right? That's what was
But
that
here's
3 years
the
ago?
thing.
2 years ago? Yeah.
No, last
Aaron
year.
Rodgers?
Oh, no, but last year they made the playoffs after starting 2-5.
No, I mean the Aaron Rodgers. Remember, he told the fans to
Oh,
relax.
yeah.
That was like 3 years ago, I think. Yeah.
That's right. And now he's just saying the one he came up with, like when you're in the darkness, like
yeah. It's usually the most light right before darkness or something like that.
he had another one yesterday.
Oh,
But here's the
okay.
thing. Here's the thing. I think all of us would expect, as we sit right now on Monday, for the Dolphins to get handled, maybe spanked at Buffalo. Why? Because they always do, and because right now they're dysfunctional. However, if they can put it all together, put a great game plan, execute, play 60 minutes, and pull off the upset at Buffalo, all of a sudden they'll be 3-5. And you tell me that all of a sudden the outlook for the rest of the season doesn't take on a whole new outlook, takes on a whole new outlook.
Yeah, right. Very nice. Right. Allow me to introduce myself. Right. No, I think that you're right. Among the general population and definitely among the talking heads on national TV who absolutely love Mike McDaniel and Tua. Here's the thing. You've got an ugly two-step here at Buffalo, at the Rams. And under Mike McDaniel, this team is 8-15 on the road, which I believe is a .358 win percentage. You're not winning both of these games on the road back to back. Sorry, not happening. Not happening.
Wow, rude.
I know. There goes there goes the segment, right? If they beat Buffalo, yeah. I hope
Twitter
2-7.
handle at Chris Perk.
That's right. That's right. You know the place. You're familiar with it. Yeah, your bad comments. You tweeted me with bad comments before. If one of these was a home game, I would say okay. I can't see them winning both of these games, both of these road games against good opponents. I wouldn't have seen this in last year when they were rolling, because you never win at Buffalo and you don't win on the road. So yeah, it makes it very tough. The situation that they're in right now, just to state the obvious, if they go 8-2 the rest of the way, they win 10 games, they're in the playoffs. Go 7-3 the rest of the way, you're 9-8, maybe in the playoffs, probably in the playoffs. Any worse than that, you're cooked. So your tough games, let's just look at the road games, right?
Yeah.
You're at Buffalo, loss. You're at Green Bay on Thanksgiving, loss. You're at Houston, loss. So you've got to win at the Rams, at the Jets, which is a December game, or that's a January game. At Cleveland, a December game. You got to beat San Francisco here. That's a December game. You're 4-10 in December and January. The numbers don't add up. I hope that they do, because you know how our clicks go down if they go to 2-7. Poop. Nobody wants to read Dolphin stories at 2-7. You're waiting until they get to 2-10, and you're talking about what quarterback they can draft, right?
Mock draft time.
Right, exactly. So but I'm just, boy, it would really, really take a lot given this team's recent history against good teams and good teams on the road and playing on the road. It's asking a whole lot. You dug yourself such a bad hole with all these ridiculous losses. Indy, Arizona, Tennessee. Ugh, man.
Except again, this is where I said I don't think any of us really expect the Dolphins to win, because logic tells you they're not. It's probably not even going to be that competitive. Logic tells you this.
Yes.
Based on recent history and the fact Buffalo's on a roll, they just completely spanked Seattle on Sunday. However, again, even though it was a bad loss, it wasn't like the Dolphins didn't do some good things against Arizona.
Right.
If they clean up some things, and again, if this is the team it's supposed to be, and this is where my take of are they overrated?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe if they play up to their reputation, is it impossible they pull off an upset at Buffalo? Nothing's impossible, but
Right.
is it likely? Probably not.
Yeah, and you know what, Poop, and you know, speaking to your point, there were a lot of good things. There have been a lot of good things the last 3 weeks, but the problem is, you know, you just keep springing leaks. And so while you get the penalties have come down, the last 3 games, those penalties have come down. But now you've got Tua fumbling 3 times, or you know you've got other things. You know, Jalen Waddle drops a pass, or you know you're getting mixed up in the coverages, and you know you're letting receivers run free. So it's just like you just keep springing leaks all over the place. And once you patch this one and something else, you know, it's a health issue or whatever. You know, I just thought, by the way, if they get down to 2-6 or 2-7, you think Javon Holland is going to put bad stuff on film and risk a new contract? That's, you know.
Hold on.
So, yeah, it's, boy, yeah, and boy, I don't, you know, and I don't want to go down a different road, but 2-6 and 2-7. At what point do you try to hook up Teron Armstead and say, look, if you want to go somewhere else as to a contender, we're not going to send you to Carolina by any means. But if you want us to look, we'll hook you up in your final season. And you play Patrick Paul, right? Because Kendall Lamb's in his final year. And so there are things, but
Calais Campbell.
Yes, and Calais Campbell also. Correct. Yeah. You try to do right by some guys if things keep going down this path.
Yeah, the season has a bit of a Murphy's Law type of feel to it. You know, one of those where just the mojo's not there, the karma's not there. I do want to point this out, and we're going to maybe close with this, that because we mentioned Javon Holland, Dolphins were playing without Zach Sealer. We mentioned that, and without Kader Kohu, without Storm Duck.
Yeah.
But for those who are going to go, well, sure, I mean, they had all these obstacles to overcome. Let's not go there because Arizona played yesterday. This is not even including the guys who are on IR, without their starting nose tackle, Roy Lopez, without their best outside linebacker, Dennis Gardeck, and without one of their starting corners, Sean Murphy-Bunting. And it didn't stop them from winning this game. So, again, the old injuries, if it's a quarterback situation and the drop-off is as ridiculous as it is for the Dolphins because, again, they were negligent and not addressing that position in the offseason, then that's a different story. But outside of that, other positions, sorry, injuries happen. The 49ers haven't had Christian McCaffrey the entire season. There are big-name players who drop every week, so can't go there.
Yep, I agree. And so we're gonna see with the Dolphins of, you know, to me so much of this is coaching, Poop, and we'll see if Mike McDaniel can make some adjustments because I still, you know, you've still got a lot of talent on this team on both sides of the ball. Maybe it's overrated. I will grant you that, but but boy, you've got to. I just want to see some better signs of life from this team. You've had 10-0 leads the last 2 games, and you've blown them. I just want to see longer, you know, do things longer, more positive things for a longer period of time.
And that was Perk's parting shot.
Yes, it was.
Alliteration. I love alliterations, by the way. So on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks everyone for watching. As I look for my button here, hopefully we'll do the correct logo on the outro as opposed to the intro. It's going to be the logo of the show. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Be back tomorrow. The plan is to do the old Behind Enemy Lines with old friend Tim Graham from The Athletic. Nice. We will discuss all things Buffalo Bills and the matchup. And perhaps he can tell us some more stories about Jordan Poyer like the one he shared before the Dolphins sign him. On that note, thanks as always to my man Perk. Thank you, Perk.
Thank you, man.
And have a good one, everyone.